Welcome or welcome back to my channel. So today I'm pretty much just tell y'all about my first day on the job doing security for the hospital. So I will say some people just kind of was like, you ain't never did security for and you starting out at the hospital? And I'm like, yeah. So I get there and I get there before the first shift staff actually gets there. And so it was like, oh, who coming in today? It was like, oh, so-and-so. Well, she always late. So I was like, damn, okay, it's going to be one of them days. So a couple things popped off today. And I don't know, I just feel like today was really eventful. So it started with a body. So somebody died at like 6:30 in the morning. Always in an unfortunate circumstance. But yeah, so somebody died, and typically you would hear like a code or alarm or whatever go off or something like that, but they died before we got there. So after we did like our little walkthrough, then we find out about the body. So the funeral home was coming to get the body. Now the body was not in the morgue, which is typically where a nurse is supposed to bring it, but for some reason it just was still in the room. The person was still in the room. And we go check the morgue, nothing. And just to give you an idea of what that looked like, it's like this big rectangular box in this room, steel, silver, or whatever. And it's, you know how you open your oven? It's that type of setup to it. But it's like a big, long rectangular box. And it's like one that you can open, and then at the bottom, another one that you can open. And the body wasn't in there. So we go up to the room. We go in there. Well, we didn't go in the room. We went up to the room. The guy from the funeral home went into the room to get the body. Now, he has the door cracked. I personally didn't even want to see the shape, like the silhouette of the person on the stretcher that he had, which, by the way, had a nice little velvety cover. And, you know, you could tell that there was like a pillow or whatever up under the cover. And it had like the funeral home's name on the cover. So he takes the little stretcher in the room with all the stuff that's on it. He's getting the body. Now, what was sad to me was the fact that this person had no family or friends there to even get their personal belongings. To die is an unfortunate circumstance, but to do it alone by yourself, that's a tough pill to swallow. So the person is in there getting the body. Now, here's where the first issue came into play today. Because, mind you, this particular hospital, it is smaller. The only area of the hospital that was open was the emergency room side. Everything else was pretty much shut down. Not much of any staff. Definitely no visitors. Literally nobody on this side of the hospital. It was a little creepy in a way. And so, when it's time to get the body from the room to the loading dock where the hearse is, that's where the issue was. So the girl was thinking that the service elevator, which is where you would take, which is what you would use for a situation like this, because you don't want to alarm people in the hospital that don't work there. I know I would be if I saw like a body on the stretcher. I didn't even make eye contact with it until we got off the elevator, because I just didn't want that image in my head. But it's more than one service elevator. She was thinking that it was still out. So the body really got rolled past the lobby, where luckily at that time, nobody was in. People, as far as people who were at the hospital on the side that was shut down, that was not staff, I saw about 3. So, no, less than 10, I'm gonna say that. But 3 at the time when we ended up coming through the lobby after the body went to the loading dock. So, being that the body being that we did not use the service elevator, there was a nurse that said something like, hey, you don't want to do that, you don't want to alarm people, that kind of thing. And I get it. Now the girl who was training me, her defense was she never experienced having to deal with something like that, and not experiencing situations and just kind of having to deal with it was something that came up more than once today. So we go back to the office, put my food, the food that I had DoorDashed there, put it in the office, and then we come back. Come to find out, the situation had already been taken care of. So the guy from the funeral home, he got the body, he gone. So next, we have, before we even get to the psych patient, the girl who was training me, she said she was going to the bathroom. She goes to the bathroom, but she's gone for like 30, 40 minutes. Yeah. She was gone for a good little minute. Now, I understand that you have a particular bathroom that you may want to use. I get that, because I'm real finicky like that too. I don't like public bathrooms. And so, if I remember correctly, when we did like our little walkthrough and was like checking doors and stuff like that, she was saying she prefers the one on the third floor. Third floor, other side of the hospital. I get it. But anyway, it don't take 30, 40 minutes. She was gone for a good little minute. It got to the point where the phone started ringing and I had to answer because it was just me. And the other gentleman who was on the clock, it was a total of 3 of us. He was on another side of the hospital. So while she's gone at the bathroom, the phone rings and they're like, hey y'all, we have a psych patient. Now, before I make contact with the gentleman to let him know, old girl went to the bathroom, she ain't back yet, they say they got a psych patient. Just to explain what that means, it doesn't necessarily indicate that the person is mentally challenged, like a mental health patient or has some type of mental health disorder. This is just someone who has not been officially admitted, but how do I word that? How do I say that? They haven't been officially admitted, so they're kind of like a Jane or a John Doe kind of. Yeah. If that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, so I get on the phone. I call old boy. I was like, hey, they said they have a psych patient. I don't know what that means, but that's just what they said. He was like, okay, we just got to warn them down to make sure they don't have anything on them that can hurt or injure, you know, any staff member, that kind of thing. So he comes over. He has me do the wanding. I never want nobody down a day in my life. Now, I just felt like if you're training somebody, you show me how to do it this time, maybe the next time, and I got it from there. That kind of thing. But no, he had me doing the wandering. And it felt awkward. So after we do that, he goes back to his area. Phone rings again. And they're like, oh, we got a helicopter that's about to land in about 30 minutes coming from Charleston. So I'm like, okay. Actually, it wasn't even that type of okay. It was, okay. I was waiting on more information. That was it. That was all I got. So hung up, call him back like, hey, they said they about to have a helicopter land in about 30 minutes coming from Charleston. So he's like, all right, I'm on the way over. This was his first time having to deal with this. So he's been working there for maybe about 5-6 months, just like old girl. And he never had to deal with that. Come to find out later on down the line when we was talking to the lieutenant, she never had to deal with it. Now, just the fact that she's a lieutenant, I would imagine she's been there with the company for a while. And some things you may deal with and some things you may not. And so the helicopter is coming in and all you got to do is help the helicopter land. So already out there on the helicopter pad, you see like the little lights on the ground, but it's daylight. So I guess they need a little more assistance. So then there was like these the little light up ones that you see in, what movie was that with Kevin Hart? Soul Plane. So when you see them trying to like help the plane land, so he was just like, you know, like this, motioning them, going like this, that kind of thing. And I'm just there watching because I'm new. And quite frankly, maybe this is just my mindset, and maybe I shouldn't have this mindset because I am in security, but I'm literally just a girl. If something happens, what y'all really expect me to do? I'm gonna call security. Yeah, security's gonna call security. But yeah, so he helps them land. And of course, you just got like the little nosy bystanders. That's actually staff members, and they're like trying to figure out like, is it somebody on there? Because it's such a small helicopter. It's a really compact area, at least in my head, for somebody to actually be on it. That's like on a stretcher, laying down, that needs help or whatever. So yeah, while he's helping them land, staff coming out like, what's going on? Is there a body on there? Is somebody getting picked up, or is somebody leaving? And I'm thinking, how y'all don't know? All y'all work in the emergency room together. How y'all don't know? How you don't know? So, but you know what? There was also somebody in environmental services who does like cleaning. That was just, she was nosy. I'm just thinking, whose mama is that? But she was just, it's a body on that stretcher. When the funeral guy, the guy from the funeral home came, you know, and I'm like, going back to work. Just go back to work. I've never. But anyway, she was there again when that helicopter was trying to land. Like, what going on? I mean, and wig about to fly off her head. Wig about to fly all the way off her head because it was just so much wind and stuff just hitting you at that time. So I'm like, no, nobody came on, but they was taking somebody. So she was like, oh, it's just so small. And I'm like, yeah, glad I ain't got a wig on today though, because that wind is really hitting us. She said, you see me trying to fix mine in it? Yeah, I do. But, and what happened after that? So after that, after the helicopter takes off, we had to get them to sign no paperwork and not like that. But after the helicopter takes off, we go back in the office and we realize the 2 reports that we have to, have completed by the end of the shift. It requires you to work on it throughout the shift so that you can, get everything that's taking place. Very detailed. Very detailed. And old girl wasn't keeping up with none of that. So let me back up a bit. So before the helicopter came, between the psych patient being wanted down and the helicopter arriving, that was like a 1 o'clock window right there. So in between those 2 events right there, old girl came back from the bathroom and she was like, she sat for like maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. And then after that, she was like, my boyfriend broke his hand. I gotta go. Now, me personally, if my boyfriend broke his hand, I am not leaving my job for that. That's just not serious enough for me to leave. Maybe a really bad car accident, God forbid. Or I don't know, but that ain't it. And I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So I'm like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope everything works out. And then I asked, how'd he do it? How did that happen? She's like, I don't know. And so she left. I'm gonna ask though, like, if that was me, like if I was in her shoes, like, how did you do this? Like, what happened? What were you doing? Anyway, but she didn't know. She didn't know. So she leaves. She lets the other guy know that she's leaving. However, she did not wait for someone to come and relieve her. The fact that I was there don't even count, don't mean nothing, because I'm in training. If something happens, I don't know what to do. It's almost as if I'm not even there. So the fact that she didn't wait for somebody to come and relieve her, that counted against her. So yes, the helicopter comes in. Then once that's handled, we get a phone call from the lieutenant. Now, even the lieutenant had not experienced a helicopter. Like I said, sometimes things just happen. So she's never had to help a helicopter land. So then from there, she's like, so-and-so said they just left at like 1 o'clock. And mind you, it's like 1:02, 1:03. Like, she called right away. And so she's on speaker. She's like, no, the boy is like, hey, what time did she leave? I'm like, well, that was after the psych patient, but before the helicopter, 12:15, 12:30. Well, she told me she just now left. that counted against her again. So apparently with this girl, things have been happening in the past and she hasn't really been getting like reprimanded. So I guess she's just thinking she could do what she wanted at this point. So things snowball and come lo and behold, she got fired today. The girl that was training me today, she got fired today. And I was like, dang, that's sad. Because you don't want to see nobody lose their job. But if you bring it on yourself, you bring it on yourself. So from there, we do another door check. Now, what I thought was pretty unique was the fact that this hospital had just got like their baby unit. And so we do regular patrols to that area to make sure doors are locked, because there are some doors, oddly, I don't know how it was designed like this, or maybe the idea of a baby unit came after it was designed, but there are doors that where you can access from outside that'll take you straight to that baby unit. So it's very important that we stay on top of it, you know, making sure doors are locked, because we don't need no Amber Alerts. We don't need no babies kidnapped or anything like that. Like, that would be really awful. So we do those checks. We do them every 2 hours. And, or every hour. We doing them. And let's see. So from there, shortly after that, it's almost time to go. I think it was like probably like 2:30 something. And you know, I'm working 7 to 3. So it's like 2:30 something by the time we doing them checks. So next thing you know, the guy from second shift comes in. And then he's like, oh, well, you can go now. So that was my first day on the job, top flight security. And yeah, it was very interesting. Like, today I even edited a short. We talked about content. Me and the girl kind of connected in a way. I gave her one of my pancakes from Cracker Barrel. But yeah, I was like, dang. We talked about school, bettering ourselves. I even saw a Bentley today, so I thought that was like pretty cool. There's a area where just only the doctors park. So I was kind of excited, because I was like, I know I'm about to see me some nice cars. But actually, there weren't any cars over there. And then shortly after that, we saw a Bentley. So we was like really excited about that. And yeah, so mind you, I do have a full-time job. I have a part-time job. And I do my 7 to 3 today. So by the time I get off, I'm exhausted. So I think I slept from like 6 until like 10. That was the nap. And now it's like 2:53 in the morning. And I have to be to work at 7. So I'm just a napper. And that's like during the week as well, even before this part-time job came into the picture. So my sleep schedule just naturally be off, and I'm not okay with it, but I don't really have a choice. Like, I felt like after I got my Chick-fil-A today, that if I had sat in the parking lot, that if I just parked, you know, after getting the food, that I would fall asleep. I was just that tired. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do my nails and get ready. I'm actually kind of like low-key ready for work already, all over again. My clothes are ready. I already have my shower. My lunch is ready. I do need to stop by Walmart and get like a little cutesy lunch bag, because where I do work full-time, I can't have a little cutesy lunch bag. So, but what I'm not gonna do is pull up to work with my lunch in a grocery bag. Ew, we ain't doing that. So yeah, I'm kind of like, I just gotta like get up and go. And then my hair is gonna stay in this bun. I don't really do much with my hair. I'm not wearing makeup. Even though in my head I said I was gonna wear makeup. I just be wanting to wear makeup all the time. But then I'm like, sometimes I'm like, is that necessary? And I stopped wearing makeup to like my full-time job, because I couldn't get to work on time. I don't know how y'all do these little 10-minute routine, these little 10-minute videos, quick makeup. Like, it's not that easy for me. Like, I just can't. I can't do that. I need an hour. I need an hour. So not wearing makeup to work. Something got to be going on for me to wear makeup at this point. But I think I may be getting into some of those videos or whatever. But we are now at 20 minutes. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut this, do my nails, get a nap in. Get a nap in before it's time to get up, and then get ready and do it all over again. And hopefully today, Sunday, will not be like as crazy. I don't know. I remember when I was like going over my paperwork and stuff, like my new hire paperwork, it was saying you can't read, you can't like bring books and stuff like that. Like, no, you can. You just need to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you have that sense of urgency when something happens. And then in between doing what you're supposed to do, yeah, that was the conclusion that I got today. But hey, the girl that was training me did get fired. So now at this point, I'm observing how other people are moving and what they're, what they doing and stuff like that. So I think I kind of even want to take my tablet to work. But my uniform is cute. I might insert a picture of me in it. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I hope y'all have a great week. Be safe.